This you?
Was poppin', was poppin', was poppin'. Welcome, Nikki and Moose. I'm Nikki. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the live show. And for the first time in a while, we are now streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Facebook was not liking us. So welcome back, Facebook. First and foremost, please like and share this live. It's going to add a lot of value in your life. And if we add extra value to you, don't forget, from a YouTube standpoint, hit that super chat and super thanks. And from a Facebook standpoint, hit those stars. You know what I mean? And then, of course, regardless if you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, drop where you are watching this from so we can see who's in the building and we can shout you guys out, whether live or in the comments. You know what I mean? Moose, how are we feeling?
Man, I'm feeling pretty good. We got matching colors on today, so I'm like, yep, this live is gonna be special. We are already in sync, and we didn't plan for it, so it's gonna be a good time, man. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I noticed that. I was like, look, now I want that hoodie. I would be super matching. Now I got to get you this hat. You know what I mean? Like, it's like got to swap kind of vibes. Got to swap. It is what it is. How was the weekend? How was, come on, update us.
Oh, weekend was good, man. We were out in Texas for a training with, the wife and her crew, and pretty dope, man. They got a pretty big business over there. So I'm over there listening to a few extra zeros in the numbers and in the meetings. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and come back and play a totally different game with what I'm doing. So I've literally been just taking that information because they had the CEO speak at the event. So he gave a 90-minute he gave a 90-minute presentation for what to expect this year. And it was the first time that, you know how we always talk about, like, oh, so what's the plan? What's the vision? What's the do? And then I heard the layout of vision, inspiration, strategy all come together under one umbrella. And I was like, oh, this is why you're a multi-billion-dollar company. Now I get it. So it was just some good game to learn, man. So I came back, obviously, really, really excited to get to it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I have been, real quick, I have been so in this planning mode. It's my boo's girlfriend this week, and so I have to plan. And I don't do good at planning. I realize this, but you knew this. I don't do good at planning. I'm more of the, let's see how the vibe goes. We go boom, 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 or you tell me exactly what you want. I got you. Right? Yep. No, it's like she told me this line on some, I need an itinerary, but I still want to be surprised.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Right. What?
Can you hire somebody for that? That sounds interesting.
I'm so confused.
Man.
Absolutely so confused. So we're making it work. The theme is going to be experiences. So, but you know what I realized? I really forgot how expensive New York is.
Yeah.
Really. Don't make that a weekend thing if you're really not ready for it. I just want to put that out there. But anyways, Moose, talk about this topic. Talk about this great topic.
Yeah, man, I wanted to build off of last week. Phenomenal live last week. If you weren't tuned into that, make sure after this live, don't leave right now. After this, go back and watch that live from last week. I think it was a great way for us to start the year and talking about identifying your brand's personality, right? It's the thing that people will ultimately connect with most. So make sure you add that to your watch later list or something and go check that out. But I wanted to build on that and start talking about building a winning social media content strategy now, right? Taking that information, taking a lot of these elements that we developed last week and start to look at the lay of the land for 2023. There's just so much that is starting to come into how content creation will be in the years to come, that it's a good time for us to revisit. So I want to talk to you about, what's the status of utilizing other people's content. I want to talk about, of course, the tools and resources that are becoming available to us. ChatGPT jumped off, things went crazy. Now the site's crashing every other hour, and is
all the way
bananas.
down.
So I want to talk about that, and I also really want to talk about, just in the midst of people getting mass access, if that's even a term, I don't know, but getting so much access to so much information and actual ease of use. We talked about how easy it is to get those things. I'm really curious to know, how can someone stand out and avoid falling into the trap of general searches, right? Because ultimately, if you and I are searching, say, for how to write an email for a new podcast, right? If I type that same search in and you type that same search in, we'll most likely get just about the same pieces of info, or we'll get about the same output. So, just talking about mixing that up a little bit. But yeah, kick us off, Nix, as you see it from where you sit, 2023 winning content creation and social media strategy. What do you think are some absolute needs going into this year?
Understanding the buckets. And what I mean by that is, what are your 3-4 core topics that you're going to be talking about this quarter? I'm not even going to go too far as the year, but from the quarter, what are your 3 to 4 things you want to talk about, or 2 to 3, right? Because one, we have to have clear messaging, and you don't want to go too much outside of those 3 buckets, right? Then when we're looking at that, one, how do we create the content that keeps us natural, right? Even though we may be talking about different topics, we still want to be able to create in those topics in a very consistent way, right? So what is those 1 or 2 ways we create content on a consistent basis that comes natural to us, right? And then, of course, figuring out the style that makes us stand out, right? And this is where some of the research comes in. This is where I'm going to say who's, look at the thought leaders, look at some of the people who've been doing it, and figuring out the foundation of what they do, kind of their style, format, that whole 9. But then what can I add to make me stand out, right? Not necessarily what can I talk about, but how, maybe the tone, maybe the frequency, maybe the way they do quotes. I'm doing short form videos. They do long form videos. I do short form. They do short form videos. I do long form. What is the gap as far as from a content side that is really waiting? There's an audience that's waiting for that to be fulfilled. So you're looking at, what are my buckets, right? What are my 2 to 4 topics that I'm going to stay around in quarter 1, right? Or whatever quarter that you're watching this in. What are my 2 to 4 buckets that I'm speaking on, that I'm showing about, that I'm showing true experience, expertise, knowledge, behind the scenes kind of vibes, right? What is the content, the 1 to 2 or maybe 3 ways to create content on a consistent basis based off those topics? And then what am I doing to figure out my style for the new year, right? Am I looking at what's happening inside of my market, inside of my industry, and figuring out what is working? Do I have the foundation? But then am I looking outside of my market and seeing some of the styles that has been working there, some of the viral moments they've had, whether from a video standpoint, photo standpoint, written standpoint, like what has been working there and what can I add to my stuff? Is it maybe just the hooks? Is it maybe the pictures, the filter? Is it a certain font style that seems to be working? Am I doing my research? And how can I go from planning to creating to executing, aka distribution?
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's powerful, because one of the things that came to my mind, and of course I see things through the lens of self-development first, and then I go to the actual thing after. So the one thing I've been thinking about, just as I talk to everybody else, and this time of the year, right, the top of the year, if you have something written on your vision board or your goal list, but you have not read a book or listened to a book on that topic in the last 4 to 6 weeks, you're not serious about achieving that goal. You have to be so sharp in being able to take in new information and upgrade your learning and continue to work on yourself so that you can put out new information that's just refreshing. That's the one thing that I'm focused on. And even if you noticed in the intro how I set up the dialogue, and I said, I'm really focused on how I can utilize and leverage AI without a doubt, because you'd be silly not to, with the speed of how quickly that thing is able to spit out information and ideas to you. But how can you make it feel as though it's a one of one? Because what you don't want to do is fall into the sea of sameness, as they would say, because you're using generic information to create your content. So having that skill set, or just being able to stay sharp and creative enough to utilize the information, but also add your spin on it so that you can put out things and put out content at such a faster rate, I think is going to be a huge competitive advantage. So we talked about, I think a couple of weeks ago, when I said, management, marketing, and of course, bouncing into the world of AI are some things that I'm focused on. You mentioned design and how that can also be a way to make some people stick out online, or something that's important to include in their social media strategy. What are some ways that somebody can, because it's funny, I put that on my kind of note where I said, I want to do what is generally accepted, but I also want to find some opportunities for me to innovate and just do something that is a little bit off the wall, where it's like, wait, I haven't seen this before, and I don't know if I like it, but it's that song that you just hear on the radio for the first time, and it keeps coming up, and then you start to say, all right, I kind of feel this a little bit. So I'm wondering, do you have some tips or some tricks that you really consider when you think about pushing the envelope from a design and creative standpoint?
Yeah, I think trial and error is always the thing, right? You're going to instantly think of something that you're going to doubt. Like when you start executing it, you're like in your head, yo, fire. Okay, I can add all these different things. And then when you're about to do it, you're like, no, this looks dumb. Or, I don't think I need to do this. I don't know if I can do this, right? And then really it is just a matter of, okay, the pure thought of, yo, I like this, or I could try this out. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Of course, the doubt's going to hit you. So you got to kind of push through that and allow data to say if it works or not. Allow the audience to say if it works or not. Not necessarily your feelings, right? Because we've probably stopped ourselves from creating things that could have been amazing, but we're like, maybe next time. Maybe we'll do this. You know what? Let's just stay safe. And this is why you want to research the foundation, but don't get so engulfed in it, right? That's why it's always good to look outside of your field and your market. I barely look at other people who are creating content like me from a tip standpoint, updates, that whole nine, branding. I don't really look at other people's content because I can get really engulfed in like, okay, this is what has to work. This is what's going to happen, And so I kind of look at it as, all right, let me just think outside of the box, learn the expertise, learn the brand, learn what I'm supposed to do. But from a content standpoint, learn from outside the box once you really get the foundation of it, and feel free to try things. Social media, what I love about it, and when we're creating content, is that if it's not good, we forget about it in a day or two. Right? To where maybe it's burnt in our mind. Oh my God, this sucked. This was horrible. Why did I create these? But no one else is thinking about that. Yeah. No one. No one's like, oh my God, why did you create it? It's horrible. 2 days later, oh my God, I remember what he or she or they created. It's like, why? No one cares, right? So you want to do a trial and error. Every single time you have a new idea, you want to try something new. There's nothing wrong with it. Add it to it. It's adding a different ingredient and seeing if you're getting a, I like that, or okay, like you're gonna get one or the other, right? But it's not going to be this big announcement of, yo, this sucked, this is horrible. No, you're not gonna get that.
Yeah, as I feel to some extent, you want to, criticism is a sign of success.
Yeah.
I feel when you break through the noise that you've gone through, or let's say you've gone beyond just the people who love and like everything you put out. I think that's a phase of a brand, right? They buy everything you put out. They love everything you say. You sneeze and you're like, wow, that was deep. I can't believe you sneezed the way you just sneezed. My goodness. What a sneeze. Like that is right. And so it's like, at some point, you're going to start getting to a wide enough net that people are saying, I don't agree with you.
Right.
I don't like that video, or I don't like your stance on what you're saying here. Right. And in a lot of ways, that's important, right? It's saying, okay, you're starting to really reach a wider base of people. So how are you dealing with criticism? I mean, I know just having grown the brand to where it's at now, there was a time you were responding to criticism. I remember that. You were going back and forth.
I'm petty.
You was doing a little clap back in the comments.
I'm absolutely petty. Yes.
I'm
absolutely petty.
Doing a little clap back in the comments.
I still do.
Is that still?
No. I still do. In a more, let's say, strategic way, right? That'll make you think. I'm not out here going and being like, nah, you're wrong, right? I go, okay, I could appreciate your opinion. However, comma. And then I'll go in a little bit. It depends on what it is. Yes, I absolutely still do, because I am still an emotional person, and I will respond if I feel like you are super over the top. Now, is that something I have to work on? Probably. But it hasn't gotten too crazy to where it takes up my time. Like when I do that, I have time. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have nothing but time on that stand. Others, I'm like, I'm either deleting it, that whole nine. Like if it's pointless, it's pointless. But if I got time, trust me, I got time.
Yeah, they're starting. I got a couple. I mean, it just one of the reels I put out. And by the way, I think it was probably one of the most misunderstood reels, but one of the most well-received reels. And I just left it alone. I was like, okay, cool. Just let it go.
All right.
Because the way it was translated was that was something that I was saying in how maybe I felt.
Okay.
What it actually was, it was from one of our training calls where I was encouraging someone, and that was a part of my example. And so it wasn't, me saying that, but it was saying that. So now I'm starting to see the comments come in where it's saying, that's dumb. People don't do that. And I was led to almost started to write back. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to actually leave it, because that's the first time that kind of feedback has started coming in. And I want to let it chill for a little bit. So just to see how it goes. But that's interesting, because I thought you might have just been like, all right, yeah, no, we're not going to go too much into the criticism back and forth.
No. If I got time, I got time. Absolutely. Like, it's just still, I am managing my own platform. Okay. I'm going to need you to respect what platform you're on. You feel me? Like, don't think you could come over here going all crazy. Majority, 98% of my my content and my comments is very positive. We got that like 2%. You feel me? We got 2. Mm-hmm. I give them 2. I really want to give them 1, but I give them 2. Okay. It's very rare. Yeah, it's very rare. But when it happens and it's out of bounds, oh, no. We got time. If I don't get it, somebody in my comments is going to get it. Like, there was one, I had a little bit of time. It wasn't that deep, but I had a little bit of time where somebody, what was it? Yesterday I talked about YouTube, right? Depending when you watch this, I talked about the recent updates with YouTube and the monetization situation. So somebody automatically, hey, follow, subscribe to blah, 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 and help me get to 1,000. And I realized my man was doing this in every single post that I was doing. I said, do me a favor. Stop commenting this on my stuff, right? Add value, gave a solution, add value to where people would want to subscribe to your stuff, but not just hitting up and then like, you're a fraud, right? You're not helping up and coming YouTubers. I'm a fraud because I don't let you spam my stuff. That's interesting. That's new. I was like, and I gave a solution. So, and then of course somebody came by like, but you don't have to spam. Like then the people who rock with me start coming through and be like, you don't spam. Da 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 da. Well, I unfollowed this and that. Praise God. I don't know what to tell you. Find somebody else to spam. Like what are we here for? So random things like that. I'm like, yeah, I got time.
I love it. Take notes, y'all. Take notes. Because that, to be honest, that's the type of stuff that I feel is going to stop somebody on their content creation journey, especially if you're a content creator. I think as a business owner, you look at that feedback as an opportunity to almost build a connection with a customer, right? It depends on the type of industry. For example, I know when I was in the hospitality industry, we were taught that whole idea that the guest or the customer is always right, by all means necessary, which is interesting too, because later on in life, I came across some information that told me that that's not the right way to deal with problems, and just letting people know that they're right all the time, regardless of the obnoxious request or things that they're expecting out of you, right? You want to set some level of standard or boundary. So it's just, I want people to hear this so that as they're going through this, I think the one word that you've literally nailed into somebody's head or to everyone's head is the importance of being consistent. Yeah. And so if something is going to stop your consistency, it's allowing criticism to stop the things that you're putting out, because you're like, oh man, but what if they don't like it? And so just know that at some point you want to get to that level and manage it accordingly. I choose not to respond, at least until further notice. Nikki, depending on the time,
I got time.
She's going to give you a little something. So that's interesting. Let's go to the comments, and shout out to everyone who's plugged in, by the way. Like this video, man. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to our channel. We got an awesome growing community. We're still YouTube's best kept secret. You know, a lot of people need us, but they don't know it just yet, and it's okay. We'll give them some time to catch up. Eventually, I think things will get there. I think if we get on here, and by the way, if you guys help us get to, if we do a live and we get to 100 live viewers, I'll give away some money on that live. We'll talk.
Oh,
We'll talk.
oh, hold on,
Yeah,
say that again. Then Moose said that, not me.
Yeah.
Moose.
He said, I just want to be clear. That's not
I-
coming from
listen,
my Cash App or my pockets.
listen.
I'm just saying, we're wearing green. You know, it's a good way to
Okay.
start off the year. I think it symbolizes something. Maybe that's a common sign. And so if we get to 100, we're gonna give away some hundreds. You know, let's just let's
Wow.
let's do this thing together. Yeah.
Wow. On that note, we got a super chat on that one. Like, hey, you feel me? Like, if you're giving away, let me
love
at
it.
least bless y'all with a little bit. Shout out to the people who hitting the super chat and the stars, depending on what platform you're on and watching this. So,
no, for
okay.
sure.
All right.
Yeah, just to give some incentive, you know, just to help this thing get to where it's supposed to be. Now, let's go to the chat real quick, man. Eric said, standing out amongst all the noise is our biggest concern. It's almost a pay to play now. So if you can't compete in the spend, how can you be heard? What's your thoughts on that? I like that.
So yeah, let's talk about it. Let me add that right here for people who don't know what it is. So yes and no. All right. We are on platforms that are free. And for them to get money, it is ads, right? So it is a hit or miss as far as what's going to work and what's going to not, right? You really have to pay attention to the game of the platform, understanding their features, understanding the tips and tricks and that whole nine to truly do good on an organic standpoint. Now, yes, a pay to play, in order to give your profile, your content a little boost to get that brand awareness up. And then once you get that boost, do you have enough content to keep them? Do you have enough consistency for them to stay and for them to continue to share some of the stuff that you have, right? It's not just pay to play and that's it, right? It is pay to play to get the awareness, to be able to keep them, to be then able to create content that is going to allow them to share it so that they can naturally create the brand awareness for you, right? So it's more strategic when we are doing the pay to play situation. But if you have time and you have patience, you could still go the organic route. You just have to have patience and not think that it's going to work in 3 to 6 months. If you could already have that mentality that this is not going to work 3 to 6 months, something is going to spike within between those times or a little bit after, right? Because 9 out of 10 times we still have to figure out our tone. 9 out of 10 times we still have to figure out our style. 9 out of 10 times we still have to figure out our consistency schedule, right? 9 out of 10 times we have to figure out if trends are working for us or not. So when we think about, when is this going to work? Can you honestly say, I've given everything that I can and this is not working? 9 out of 10 times you can't. You can't. So either you put more work and have more patience, or you become strategic with the pay to play and use that for your advantage from a brand awareness standpoint, and then create the organic content that's going to keep them.
Wow, that's fire. Is the idea that you only have to run ads when you're selling something? Because you know why? I think that sometimes when, at least this is my reaction to it, when I study my own behavioral tendency in a sense, when I come across an ad that has no call to action, my immediate response is, this is a little fishy. Now, what, like, I just want to look into it. Or better yet, let me not say it's a little fishy. I think my response is, what's the catch?
Right.
And so I guess the question is, and I think GE spoke about it in the chat too, is it okay to run, or is there a specific way to run ads to gain that brand awareness, even if you're not selling a product or a service at the end of that?
Yeah, so there are brand awareness campaigns, right? That is more for just that, not necessarily selling anything, but to get your content to more eyes, to get your post or your profile out there, that if this was a couple of years ago, what it should be doing on an organic standpoint. Now this is kind of, helping push through the crowd here, check me out. But it does depend on our body of work of what we already have to see if people are going to rock with it or not. So there are brand awareness campaigns that is just solely for, here's my brand, here's my content, here's my profile. I've seen a few that's like, that you'll see it and then it's like, follow the page, right? Not taking you to a website, not anything like that. And for some people it works, for some people it doesn't, right? Some people are concentrating on, okay, what are my conversions? Can I get more emails? Can I get, more leads? Can I get more, conversions from a standpoint of, can I sell something? So, there's different reasons. And if you go into especially if you go into Facebook Ad Manager, it will literally tell you all the different types of campaigns that you can run. And normally people go straight to conversion when really it's not that. You really just want more views. You really want more people. You really want more reach. So it depends on the purpose of it, but I do believe you can run ads without necessarily selling anything, because it'll set you up for an audience that you can then retarget, right? And then sell to them later because they've already reacted to the ads that you have out.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Let me ask you, what's the status of reacting to other people's content in 2023? Is that still, and I'm talking specifically the ones for Instagram, like the videos where you can put someone's content on one side and then you're just literally like,
oh, that's still it. Yep, that's still it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. That's definitely still it. Just because it brings it, you already see something that's working, especially do it with a video that's already working, right? It's showing people that you approve of this or your reaction to it. We love reaction videos. That's its kind of version of it. So, yeah, that's still working.
Wow. Is there anything of those common trends that you think is about to expire or has already expired? Is there anything that comes to mind just in terms of something that we shouldn't really pay much attention to? So, for example, I at one point thought that the carousels were that's it. I was like, I don't know that the carousels, because I think during the pandemic, the carousels were really hitting because people had more time.
Yeah.
And so once Reels started to take off, I felt that carousels took a dip. And now with the Twitter threads becoming a lot more common, they're easy to read, bite-sized, just a lot of bullet points really put together. Even short list, those are some posts that have done really well for me as well. They're actually some of my most shared pieces of content. It's the threads. And so now I'm making that one of my main pieces. So I thought for a minute that those were set to expire. I was like, dang, I didn't capitalize, say, on the writing skill set when they were received. And so now I'm starting to see them make a comeback just from the Twitter standpoint. But yeah, is there anything that comes to mind that you think is set to expire that people should maybe not invest as much energy into? Or is it maybe it
No,
depends on the person?
I
Yeah.
think it just depends on the person. It depends on the audience, right? Because like some people will say still photos don't work, but on photography pages, it still does. You know,
Right.
not maybe as good, but understanding that this is a photography page and we didn't come necessarily here for videos. We came here for pictures, right? It is still something that just depends on the audience, depends on how you create it. But I wouldn't say like something's going out of style, because for the simple fact it could come back. Like you said, carousels are coming back. You know, who's long form. Everybody thinks, okay, it's all short form. No, long form is still a situation. This is why we're here. You know what I mean? So it always depends on your audience.
Yeah, we got some questions in the chat, y'all. And y'all, if y'all got some questions, we got a couple minutes here for that. So definitely drop some questions in the chat. But I see Nikki said, what advice would you give to someone that is starting from scratch in a new industry?
So I think that's easy. I think that's going with the formula of figuring out how do you stand out in that industry, right? Going on who's already in the industry, what are they doing, but what are they not doing? And what can you do out of that list that comes very natural to you, so you can stay consistent, so you can move with a bit of confidence, because you're like, yo, this is what I do, right? So once that's taken care of and you're identifying your audience, like, because though you may think it's the same audience as maybe other people in this industry, or similar to this and that person, it's really your own audience. There is still some things that are different that you are attracting. So identify the audience, right? And then specifically talk to that audience. There's going to be keywords that only they know. There's going to be a tone that only they receive, right? So you're going to want to figure that out from a standpoint of, okay, what is in my industry? What is the gap? What can I do naturally out of that gap? Who am I talking to? And what are their trigger words that knows that when I'm talking to them, they know I'm talking exactly to them. So I could sell them water if I wanted to, but they know this water is specifically for them and their needs. So I'd say kind of start there without knowing too much of what the industry is.
Nice. Calvin said, is Later a good tool to use?
Yes, I use that. Later is a really cool tool. For those people who don't know what Later is, it is a scheduling app that will allow you to schedule out your content on multiple platforms. So it could do Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest, that whole nine. You can schedule one post and distribute it on multiple ones, or have different strategies on these different platforms, or just one or two, and just so you don't have to worry about it later on and have a whole life like you're supposed to.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Listen, man, at the end of the day, whenever you're coming to, or let's say you're at a point where you're having a little difficulty in overthinking your content, your creativity, what to share, whatever it is, just know that these two things will always stand true. Be yourself, and stories are undefeated. I think no matter what happens, people still want to connect with real, genuine, authentic people. And every chance that you have to creatively and consistently express that, take it. People want to know more about you. They do. They really do. We think that because there's so many people sharing online, people are not interested, or they're caught up in other people's business. They're not. Real people love real people. And if you have that opportunity to express that, do that and use storytelling to your advantage. Something about storytelling. And when you really master storytelling, especially for brand and business growth, you start to leverage storytelling, and you're just using elements of your story to help people see themselves in the picture. It's not even about your story anymore. That's the beautiful part about it, because it should be an indicator to you that you are so healed, that you are so good with you, that you're not trying to tell your story so that people can say, wow, yo, Moose is so cool. Wow, Nikki is a genius. We don't even care about that anymore. It's more about how can I strategically just drip parts of my story in there so that I can capture your attention, but immediately I'm flipping the script and I'm putting you in the driver's seat and I'm saying, yep, that's you up on the big screen. Mm-hmm. That's you right there making that happen, and really helping you to make the connection. So I will say that, man, just make sure, always be yourself and utilize storytelling to your advantage, because I think those two things are undefeated for sure.
I like that. I like that, people. Yeah. Please share this. All right. Share this, like this if you haven't already liked it. Let us know what you think about the live. Drop it in the comments right now. Yo, this was fire. Yo, I got more questions, that whole 9. Leave it in the comments. And of course, if this added any kind of value from a Facebook standpoint, hit those Facebook stars. From a YouTube standpoint, hit super thanks or super chat if you're watching this live in the chat right now. So the episode 119 dropped today. The audio experience dropped. The video experience is dropping Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So go make sure you check that out. We had Nehemiah Davis in the building, dropping so many gems about everything from event space to marketing secrets to how much he made in one day, mindset, work-life balance, everything that you would need to know is all in this new episode. So go definitely check that out. Moose, appreciate you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Excited about tomorrow when the episode drops. I'm gonna be in the chat chilling for a bit. For those people who use ChatGPT, it's back up, and we probably will be talking a little bit more about this AI world. So, yeah, you already know what we're gonna say.
Peace, y'all.